to be ready for their task as leaders. So I hope you enjoyed the earlier session of Dr. Noor, and same would be the case for the second one. So I'll just hand over the mic to Dr. Noor.
Assalamu alaikum. And because of the time, because of the time, we're running out of the time. So, inshallah, I'm going to focus on the main points. I'm not going into the details of every slide. Rather, I'm going to touch the main points which I want you actually to engage with me in the discussion. So, there was a question that I have been asked before from many of actually the people, especially the youngsters and the young Muslim leaders in general, about where is the place that we should make our success in. I mean, especially for the people who are staying away from their own countries. Should we stay here? I mean that if we are staying in Korea, Japan, Europe, US, or whatever, should we stay here and establish our success here, for example? Or the success should be there at home? Which one that we should look to? Where is the suitable place for us? Before going into these details, what do you think about this? Because this is important issue. Do you think that if you want to be successful person, okay, in general, from your own point of view, and based on what you are studying or whatever, which is the place that is suitable for your success? That you can promote, that you can do something, that you can make an achievement, for example. Here means that abroad, I mean, or at your home country. Yes, our sister?
Any place in the world you feel you're comfortable with, you can be successful. Whether it's in your country or foreigner country, if you have a goal, you can just go. Doesn't matter the place.
Okay, great.
Actually, I have a different point of view. Of course, here I will go to my success, but I believe my perspective that I should serve my country, and I will not feel successful if I didn't serve my community. Especially, I come from Yemen. Yemen is now under attack. When I look at the pictures of children, my country is being destroyed. To spend my whole life here, all to myself, is not enough. I have to go there and share in the success of my country.
Okay, so you say that you must go back.
Yes.
Okay, so we have two different
Sooner
answers.
or later.
Okay. So one answer was anywhere, and another answer for no. You have to go back. Yes.
Actually, I have my point of view, and also at the same time, I don't have your point of view.
It's different. Okay.
So I will not go to
Yes.
my point of view is that where you want to establish your depends upon the resources available to you and also upon your capability. So these two things are very important to look where you want to stay.
So the resources
Available to you
and
and your capability.
your capability and opportunity. So we mean
That's the
that.
resources.
Okay. So if you have a place that you do not have the opportunities, for example, then it's not in your calculation. Okay, so these are three.
And if you talk about Islam and like serving the society, then there is no nothing like country or like home or village. You just think of the society.
Okay, so let's talk about achievement in general, whether it is religious or non-religious. Okay, let's talk about humanitarian. So we have three opinions now. Our brother, what's your name?
Imran.
Imran. Okay, and our sister, Ibtisam. Fawzia. Okay, so we have. Okay.
I think wherever you do it in the best way, as Prophet Muhammad said. If you're here and you're studying, like be best in your study. If you're back in your country and you are doing some work, be best in your field.
Okay.
Whatever you do, wherever you are, try to be the best.
I see.
Try to success.
Okay. That's nice. Any other Kiara, do you want something? Contribute, participate.
Okay, for, is it working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, I think like out of feeling of responsibility, I mean like I grew up all my life in Jordan. I was like a consumer and I took all the education. Okay, my parents paid for that, but still, this is where I grew up. So out of my responsibility, I have to pay back to the country where I grew up and where I became what I became. So this is how, like, if I spent all my years just consuming knowledge from one country, and when I am in my production year, I give to another country, I don't think it's actually fair.
So you mean that you should go back to
So
your
you
country.
take, like, you grow better here, and maybe you can contribute back to the...
What if I ask you that you are, for example, supposedly to stay in Morocco or Libya or Yemen, and you are going to serve the people there, which really they need whatever that you are specialized in.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? It's okay or not okay? It's not your country.
It's not, I mean, Libya is dangerous. But I would go to a safe country.
A safe
like,
country.
yeah.
But anyway, now we are away from Jordan, at least, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to answer your question. You asked that if some, I don't need my phone. You asked that if some in the part of any country they needs our services, so we can do. It should be our, because we learn, we make ourselves at that level that we can be able to deliver them that they are need. There are many ways, either by going physically over there or by online or Skype, right?
Yes.
We can do, but the intention should be delivered. It's not we should not stop by the obstacles. My point is that we should always be ready to contribute and deliver if there is our need somewhere.
Okay, so I'll ask you another question. If that you are going to help people in a point or in a field that you are not concerned with, are you going to accept or not?
If they ask me, it means I am competitive, that's why they are asking me. Otherwise, they will not ask me. Right?
Yes, I mean that, for example, you are specialized in engineering, for example, and you found that your country or any other country, they need someone in humanitarian things or aids or anything like this. Are you going to contribute on it, or you are going to say that I have no relation with such like?
In that way, I can help them finding the right person who is dealing with these things. As you said, that they come to me because they have a reference of my country, right?
Yes.
That my country is good in these things. And they approach to me because I am a national of that country. So I can help at least to find a specific person who deals with this thing from my country.
And help them.
Yeah. So I can connect them.
Yes, okay. I think that what you have said covered the entire, what I want to mention. But there is one word that you used, almost everyone used, which is my country, right? My country. My country needs me, my country, I grew up there, my country educated me, and so on. I have a comment on the word country in general. Whenever we're talking about Islam in general, Islam has no borders in the first place. And we should always think about this, that whenever you are dealing with whatever that you can provide, assist, help, support, or whatever, there is no borders. These borders, just two people, they gather together after the First World War, and just on a map, and they took the pencil and they put, this is Pakistan, for example. This is Egypt, this is Libya, this is Sudan. And really, they were doing like this. Look to the borders between Egypt, for example, and Sudan, Libya. It's a straight line. Someone like, that's it. This is Egypt. Then, after that, the people above this border, they're Egyptians, for example. And below this border, they are Sudanese. And we can fight for something, like halal wa shalatif, right? Okay? And the same also, you'll find this between other countries. Bangladesh or Pakistan and India, already they have separated in 1947, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, you'll find these kind of borders, we haven't drawn it. So do not take this. This is one of the hidden diseases, latent diseases that we have nurtured. That my country, yes, we love our country. But again, when you look to the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and look to the Sahaba, and look to the righteous predecessors, and look to the scholars, hardly you could distinguish from which place this Sahabi or this righteous predecessor or this scholar come from. We do not know. Actually, it doesn't make any difference. Who cares that is coming from Bukhara or Samarkand or Damascus or Egypt or Morocco? We don't care. We don't care. Yes, you have the certain features of the people coming from the Africa, for example, or from Indian continent or whatever. But again, at the end, you are, number one, your identity, your ID card, Muslim. You are a Muslim. This is the first thing. This is the identity. So whenever you are talking, this is something that just I want you to realize. Country, when it comes in helping and doing an effort and making contribution, you should not, I think that country borders and so on, it's not a good idea. Look now to the European Union and so on. Anyway, just they realized after decades that these borders are not good. We should come together again. Even that, they have different languages, different cultures. They do not have the same destination like Muslim and so on. But again, they realize, no, borders, it's not good. Why we make these borders between Netherlands, for example, and other countries, and Belgium and so on? No. So this is the point here. Assistance or making contribution, it has no border. I would give some examples here, and I will show to you. Sometimes, well, I have heard from you that I should, for example, have some speciality in certain field. Then I'm going to contribute to the society or to the people in this field. Actually, I found that being a leader in this, it's not a necessity. I mean that it's not a condition. Okay? It's not a condition. We cannot say it is a prerequisite. No, it is not necessarily be the case. Okay? You can help and support and contribute and be a leader, even in a field that you are not specialized in, but you are passionate to do or to love, or you are loving it so much. We're going to give some examples here, and this is some videos, and then we're going to have the discussion for each one of them. Hold shorts.
How much money does it take to change? How much money does it take to make real and lasting progress against global poverty? Would $1 billion be enough? 100 billion? For one man, it took just $27. $27 and a simple but compelling idea. That man is Muhammad Yunus, and his idea started a global revolution that has brought hope, opportunity, and pride to some of the poorest people on earth. So, who is Muhammad Yunus, and what was his idea? To understand Muhammad Yunus, you need to know where he comes from: Bangladesh. Although Bangladesh is a beautiful country with a rich culture, it is one of the poorest and most densely populated nations in the world. Muhammad Yunus was born in Bangladesh in 1940, and he was affected by the dramatic conditions there. But unlike so many of his fellow Bangladeshis, Muhammad Yunus was not born into poverty, which gave him access to important opportunities. As a result, he was able to go to good schools, get a quality education, and even go to college. Eventually, he won a scholarship to study economics in the United States. While Muhammad lived in the United States, he witnessed something there that changed his life. He saw the historic struggles of the civil rights movement up close, and he was deeply affected. Muhammad was particularly inspired by the movement's powerful commitment to social justice, and it stayed with him. When Muhammad went back to Bangladesh, he continued to be profoundly concerned about issues of justice, especially poverty. And as an economist, he wondered why. Why was there so much deprivation in his country? Why were so many people living in so much misery? He quickly realized that unemployment was not the problem. In fact, most of the people living in poverty in Bangladesh were working. They worked full-time at back-breaking jobs. The real problem was wages. Muhammad Yunus came to a profound conclusion about poverty.
What creates poverty? What created this situation that human being has to be brought into this kind of situation where they have to beg for existence? Is this the fault of the person? Repeatedly I come to the same conclusion. There is nothing wrong with the people. Poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system that we have built, the concepts that we have created. That's what created poverty.
As Professor Yunus studied the problem, he began to focus more and more on the issue of credit and the ability to get loans. With wages so low in Bangladesh, he realized the poor could never save up enough money to change their lives. The only way to rise out of poverty was to get access to capital. With loans, the poor could move to better neighborhoods, go to better schools, pay for college, get better jobs, even start their own businesses. But in Bangladesh, as in most countries, the poor do not have access to the kinds of loans that can change their lives. According to conventional wisdom, they are simply too great a risk. They have low incomes, no collateral, no history of credit, and belong to a group that is generally not regarded very highly. Fortunately, Professor Yunus was able to look beyond the attitudes of his time and challenge us to see the world's poorest people in a completely different light. And it all started with $27. In 1976, in the midst of a deep economic downturn, Professor Yunus left the comfort of the university where he taught and talked to poor villagers in the towns around his city. Although he didn't have much money, he realized it wouldn't take much money to completely transform people's lives. In an impulsive moment, Professor Yunus gave $27 from his own pocket to a small group of 42 craftsmen. But Professor Yunus made it clear to these craftsmen that the money was not a handout. He believed that charity only makes the poor dependent and vulnerable. Instead, it was to be a loan that they would have to pay back. And they were more than happy to comply. These craftsmen used the money to buy the supplies they needed to make and sell small crafts. They started their own business and paid back every single penny. And that's when Muhammad Yunus had his revolutionary insight. He realized that the smallest of loans could dramatically change the lives of the poor. In many cases, they just needed a little bit of cash to get some resources, materials for a small startup business that could give them a fighting chance. However, Professor Yunus knew that there was not a single bank in the country that would risk lending to the rural poor. So he took matters into his own hands, and this was the step that would start a revolution. Professor Yunus started his own bank, the Grameen Bank, focused on helping the poor, and he soon realized the demand for help was extraordinary. The Grameen Bank loaned small amounts of money, microloans, to a wide range of poor Bangladeshis, including farmers, craftsmen, and women, people who could not traditionally get loans. Some villagers bought dairy cows, then sold the milk to their neighbors, creating small sustainable businesses. Others used the money to open grocery stores or buy materials for making furniture. And then in some villages, people took out group loans to construct hand-powered wells that helped supply drinkable water for the entire community. In all of these cases, the benefits rippled throughout the village. Professor Yunus reinvented banking and got rid of as many traditional requirements as he could. He specifically designed his bank to work as well as possible with the poor, whatever it took. If a requirement blocked out the poor, he simply got rid of it. No collateral, no credit checks, not even a written contract. It was revolutionary. The system is based entirely on trust, and the amazing thing about it is that it works. According to bank officials, 97% of the loans given out to the poor are paid back in full, a payback rate that has confounded the expectations of conventional bankers. Over the years, the bank has given out more than $13 billion in loans to over 8.4 million borrowers, helping to improve communities all across rural Bangladesh. And the system is clearly working. Since 1992, the poverty rate in Bangladesh has dropped from a staggering 56% to just 31% today. While the poverty rate is still high, it is moving in the right direction. The basic belief of Muhammad Yunus is simple. Poor people have enormous untapped potential. And by lending them money, we help them break the cycle of poverty, and we can empower them to become constructive and contributing members to society in a way that benefits the entire nation and perhaps the world. The poor don't have to be a burden.